Hi, and welcome to Talk More, Sell More Club. This is Jan Saunders Marish, and I am here with you from Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm here on doing a little vacation with my one and only beautiful husband. And so I'm going to be introducing Nancy and then handing the program over to her so she can take it from here. So I am the part of this team that does the talk more part, and
Dr. Nancy Zara, and I will help you sell more, and together we're going to help you explode your business.
Absolutely. So this month is our theme is how to connect with everyone in the room. And what Nancy's going to be speaking to you about has helped me so much. I can't even tell you when it comes to live networking, because you kind of want to, look the room, work the room, but do it very strategically so that you can approach people in a way that is comfortable for them. So you make that connection that's so important. So she's going to be talking to us today, teaching us today about how to connect in live networking situations and identify each one of those 4 personality styles by what they wear. And this has just helped me so much in being able to connect using the right words with people, the proper handshake, all of that good stuff. So it's like the keys to the kingdom. It's like secret stuff. So anyway, without any further ado, I am going to turn the program over to Dr. Nancy Zara. I'm going to say goodbye right now because we're going to be going on a Two Sisters tour of Charleston and look through the French Quarter and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to just say goodbye. I'll see you next week. And I'm going to be sharing with you some really cool stuff, so don't miss it. And remember, if you miss a week, we record each session, so you can go ahead and see the things you missed. So bye for now, and take it away, Dr. Nancy.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you, Jan, very much. I'm going to share this screen, and as Jan indicated, I'm going to help you with the sell more in terms of networking at live networking events. So it looks like I am going to share my screen. And oops, I am here. And here we are, what to wear. Okay. So when you're at a networking event, a couple things I want you to be aware of. And that is before you even go to the event, if it's possible to get the attendee list and look up people ahead of time using social media. I will be covering that later this month. That's a great tool for you to use because then you can actually find the people you want to specifically meet. But if instead you happen to be at a networking event, or maybe this is a trade show and you are a member of the trade show, or you have an exhibit table, then you're going to want to scan the room and notice what people are wearing, because that's going to be a huge clue as to what their personality style is. And just to remind you, there are really 4 styles. The first style that I call learning, and I kind of link to the green color, that is the person that's buying information and solutions. When they make a buying choice, they are looking for things that are practical because that will solve a problem. And utilitarian, it solves the problem in the long run. So let's take a look at what somebody who is buying information, buying solutions, how is it that they would come to the networking event? What clothing might you see them dressed in? Well, here's a big clue. There's something off. You see, this is the person who really doesn't care about their appearance. And I know for those of you for whom appearance is very important, this may be a hard concept to fathom. What? Somebody doesn't care what they wear? Well, that is the truth. They really don't care. And they'd rather spend their precious brain power on something that they consider more important than how they're dressed or how they appear. So as a result, something is off. Something is like, it isn't quite the way you'd expect. And that's because they may be wearing clothing, colors, cuts, fabrics that are, quote, out of date, yesterday's fashion. And that's because, remember, this person is choosing things that are practical. It's going to solve the problem of I need to put on clothing, and I know that I'm going to be indoors or outdoors, and I know the temperature will be thus and so. So it's practical, but utilitarian means that it has long life. It's a long-lasting solution. Well, if the clothing isn't worn out, this person's going to continue to wear it. It makes sense to them. And by the way, making sense, being logical, they're all about that because they are the brainiac. So the clothing they may be wearing could be out of date on some way, and that's why something's off. You'll find that they tend to choose things that are plain, the white shirt or a solid colored shirt or blouse, solid colored pants or skirt. Again, they don't know how to mix and match patterns that well, so they figure if they stick to things that are plain, they won't look like a geek, which of course is how they feel. So they tend to choose things that are very plain vanilla. If they do choose a pattern, it tends to be a plaid, something geometric. And I have to smile today because I had just come from a presentation with, as it turned out, a group of all men. And I had asked a colleague of mine to join us for this presentation. And sure enough, he is the learning style, and he came with his plaid shirt. And that was, he felt he was dressed for the occasion instead of the plain shirt. So it was very interesting for me to observe. So plaids, geometric patterns, that is what this person gravitates to. They find a uniform, just like Steve Jobs found, the black turtleneck and the jeans, even if it's expensive designer jeans. Well, this person finds a uniform to wear, and that's why they tend. And by the way, the women also find a uniform to wear. I'll give you an example of one of my clients. Literally, she had 8 different blouses, beautiful silk blouses. Again, she paid good money for her clothing because it would last a long time. It was practical and utilitarian, but different colors, same style. And each day she would just rotate and put on something new, something, freshly laundered. But she didn't have to think about it. She had a black jacket that she wore over it, dark pants or a skirt, and she was good to go. And again, they don't want to have to think about it. So they find a uniform to wear. This is the person who really doesn't care what their hairstyle is. In fact, they may not even bother to go to a hairstylist? You mean I'd spend money on that? Again, this is not the kind of person who would do that. So they're indifferent to how their hair is coiffed or fashioned. They also, the women wouldn't wear makeup. Even they may wear something to protect their skin if there's a skin problem, or maybe they're concerned about health or aging. But in general, they're not into makeup, and especially not into, extra makeup like, decorating one's eyes, that sort of thing. So very minimalist. You'll find that that's true with all their accessories, like eyeglasses, hence, the frameless eyeglasses or the wire rims, because this is very typical of the learning style. And as far as any kind of jewelry goes, again, they may have a watch, because that's practical to tell the time, a wedding band, etc. But they're not one to sport a lot of jewelry. Again, belt buckle or anything that would be showy. Nah, that's not this person. And shoes. Now, some of you are wondering, well, why am I focusing on shoes? For those of you who may not be aware, I actually created a video called If the Shoe Fits. It's a 6-minute video in which I show you the shoes that the 4 different styles tend to wear. And for the learning style, again, practical. It's a work shoe. That they prefer shoes that tie because they fit the foot properly and they stay on the foot. So that's the kind of shoes that this person wears. So now let's take a look at the energizing style. And just a reminder, this is the person who is buying excitement. They're buying an adventure. They're buying enthusiasm and experience. And when they make a choice, they're looking for things that are trendy, on the cutting edge, very stylish, very modern, and outstanding. Something that sets them apart and makes you take notice of them. So keep that in mind as we look at the choices that they make. Of course, they want to be fashion forward. I just told you that this is so important for them. And so whatever the latest in cut or color or fashion or style, or, is it going baggy? Is it going, short, whatever? This is the person who will do that. But bright, bold colors and patterns, because this person wants to stand out and be noticed. They like attention. They want you to say, wow, look at them. So they don't mind wearing color, and they don't mind wearing patterns, and they don't mind wearing big patterns so that you see them. Now, statement pieces. Both the men and the women find a way to stand out and get your attention. So it could be through a hat, a big belt buckle, boots. It could be through lots of jewelry, dangly earrings, hair pieces, whatever it might be. They find something. I had one of the friends I knew from years ago. He literally had over 80 pairs of eyeglasses, and every day he would wear a new pair. And that was his trademark. That was how he stood out. And of course, as people looked at him, they were like noticing, wow, something's different about you today. Well, his eyeglasses changed. The men absolutely adore cufflinks, and I'm talking about cufflinks normally, not at an occasion like, when you're invited to the prom or to an evening event. This is a person who loves to wear cufflinks, who has monogram shirts, because this sets him apart. This makes him feel special. This is the guy that wants the VIP treatment, etc. And the women, they walk in stilettos. And that means that even if it's that expo and you're there at the expo, notice the women who are in stilettos, even the ones behind the tables. I mean, that's your energizing woman. She wants to look her best and be seen and be noticed. And, having that raised heel just kind of makes her feel like she stands above the others. Both the men and the women do get manicures, and as far as the women go, makeup, absolutely this woman wears makeup. She wouldn't leave home without it, including the fact eye makeup. And so when you see someone who's heavily made up, whether with the kind of a strong hand or not, that is a sign of the energizing woman. And what kind of shoes do they wear? Well, fancy shoes. Again, that stiletto heel, the polish, the bling, the whatever it is, expensive. Yes, this is the person who literally has a closet for their shoes. They love wearing shoes, just like the guy I told you with the different eyeglasses. This person, of course, has multiple shoes and loves to wear them. Okay, so that's your energizing person, and now let's turn our attention to the networking individual. And the networking individual, when they're at a networking event, again, what's going on with them? They are making a purchase based upon getting a friend. They want a connection. That's what makes them want to buy. And so when they're making choices, they're looking for things that are casual, that are down to earth, that, have, are just, they no showy, they're not like that, and comfortable. So as you'll find out in a moment, they choose shoes that are absolutely comfortable. And all their clothing, as a matter of fact, texture. So let's take a look at their choices. I just mentioned the fact that they love touchable fabrics. Both the men and the women wear sweaters, and the men will even wear a sweater vest in summer. That's how much they enjoy texture, that soft fabric, the pattern as this man is wearing, that cable pattern and so forth. They love sweaters and touchable fabrics. So again, that softness, the flow, that's all what they're about. You'll notice that they are not afraid of color, but they tend to choose muted colors like pastels and earth tones. So whereas the energizing person was bright and bold and in our face, this is the person who's very subdued and less forward, because that is who they are. They're more of a supportive person because they're looking to connect and not overwhelm and dominate. Patterns, small patterns. They don't mind choosing something with a pattern, but they're not looking for a pattern that's gonna, blare in your eyes like, a traffic light, that's flashing. No, it's something that's more subtle. A small pattern is something they would go for. Of course, that paisley, they love that kind of thing. And loose, flowing garments. I mean, whether it's the baggy, sweatshirt or baggy, pants, or the big muumuu skirts, you know what I'm talking about? That is a sign of your networking individual. And both the men and women carry big, not small, big bags, because they want to put everything in it just in case, we need it. And so their bags tend to be very large, including the fact that men will have knapsacks or other kinds of bags that they carry with them. But yet, if you were to ask them for something, they have to kind of dump out the bag to find what they're looking for, because things are not that organized. Because this is a person who's not super organized. We're about to come to that individual. This is a person who lets it all hang out. Remember, comfortable, down to earth, that sort of thing. And the kinds of shoes they wear, these are shoes like Birkenstock sandals. You can just slip right in. They don't want to fool with buckles. They don't want to fool with lacing, just something they can slide their foot into. And their shoes tend to be worn, because those are the most comfortable shoes, the ones that they've worn a while. And you see the soft, fluffy pink slippers there in the corner. Oh, that's just perfect for the networking woman. That soft, textural feeling against her feet. All right, and our last style, the stabilizing style, these are the people that are buying safety and security. Again, whatever you're selling, this is a person. First and foremost, they're looking for protection, things that are safe. They're not risk takers. And when they make decisions, they want to choose things that are classic, that never go out of style, and also very conservative. Whatever it is we did before is good enough for us to do today. And so they tend to have a nod to things that are very traditional. When you look at that person in a networking event, you'll find that they are dressed a bit more formal than others. If you've ever gone to a workplace where they have what's called Casual Friday, where people are allowed to wear perhaps things like jeans, never would the stabilizing individual appear in jeans. Khakis, something that to them is about as informal as they'll get, because this is a person who tends to dress a little bit more formally than the others. As far as the colors they choose, look at the colors in this picture. These colors don't stand out. The white shirt or blouse, the powder blue shirt or blouse, maybe a pastel yellow. The men will never wear things like lilac or pink or peach. No, it's too frou-frou, for them. Now, the women might wear pink, that sort of thing. But notice that the women how they're accessorized, a single strand of pearls, earrings that are close to the ears. They're called stud earrings. Look at the ties on the men. Again, no pattern, plain, the button that's up to the throat, even if it's a button down collar, all the better. This is how the men and women dress, very formally, and a very small palette of colors. They tend to choose, again, things that are plain, or if there is a pattern like the tie or the blouse, it's a very small, discreet pattern like a fleur-de-lis, something, again, that doesn't stand out and call a lot of attention. I mentioned that the women love a single strand of pearls. That seems to be a mark of the stabilizing appearance. And stud earrings, earrings that don't move around, that come close to the ear, etc. And the men, you can tell a stabilizing man by shined shoes. I mentioned earlier that this morning I was at a networking event and happened to be the only women among the men. And literally, as I looked at their feet, I practically laughed because I could see my reflection coming back to me in the shined shoes, one after another after another. So I happened to be in a group that was highly stabilizing. And here is the last little feature I want to clue you into. Everyone, man and woman, who are stabilizing, they look like they're freshly laundered, like they freshly came out of the dry cleaners. It's remarkable to me that I will meet somebody at 4 o'clock, the end of a workday, or say 7 or 8 o'clock at night. This person hasn't had a chance to go home. Maybe it's a networking dinner and so forth. But they look impeccable, like the person was freshly laundered. And that they take care of their clothing meticulously, which is, of course, why it lasts a while and etc. They're very budget conscious, if you remember that. And finally, what kind of shoes does this person wear? Well, as you can see, the women classically wear pumps, 1 to 2 inch heels, and of course the men, again, shoes that are classic, that don't go out of style. It could be a tie shoe, by the way, that would be very plain. So I hope that this has been a fun way to help you take a look next time you're at a networking event. Notice the clothing that people are wearing. This is going to give you a clue as to who is at the networking event. And so I am now going to unmute us and see if there are any quick questions. Hey, Barbara, welcome.
How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Awesome. It took me 15 minutes to get into the Zoom.
Oh my, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why. I did it like 4 times. I couldn't get the link. Link didn't go. Then I tried my phone, the link, and then I took the number and hand did it in. So and that's what I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. Is just I'll go into Zoom itself and put in the number. So
I am going to actually conclude our recording right now, and then Barbara, you can hang out. If there are questions, I'll be happy to answer them. So again, as Jan explained, next week we're going to continue with how to network effectively, and she's going to talk more about that. And as I mentioned, the sneak preview in 2 weeks, I'll be telling you how to look up people on social media. So this is Dr. Nancy Zare for the Talk More, Sell More Club, and thank you very much to your